Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today is Tuesday, January 27, 2026. And I want to start by asking you a question, and I want you to be totally honest with yourself. When was the last time you woke up, looked at your alarm clock, and actually felt good?
And we don't mean good as in, I guess I can get through this.
Right. I mean, genuinely optimistic about the 8 hours ahead of you. Not, dreading the commute, not mentally prepping for battle, but actually looking forward to the work.
It's a feeling that historically most people would say is pretty rare.
Or at least it was.
Exactly.
And if you are feeling that way today, which statistically a lot of you are part of this massive anomaly. Because for the first time in years, maybe even decades, the data is suggesting the American worker is actually genuinely happy.
It is such a bold claim, especially when you think about where we were just a couple of years ago. We were in the trenches.
Well, that's the hook for today. We are looking at a stack of brand new reports. The Conference Board's 2025 survey, some deep dive insights from Lorien on the tech sector, and some really heavy academic papers on something called AI career forensics. So the mission today is to figure out, is this rebound real? And if it is, why? Did we just get paid more? Or, and this is the part that just fascinates me, did we finally use AI to crack the code on psychological fit?
I think the answer is going to surprise people. It's not just about the economy stabilizing, though. That helps.
Of course.
It's about a fundamental shift in how we match humans to work. It turns out we've been doing it wrong for about 100 years.
So let's dive into the evidence. We have the Conference Board, we have Lorien, we have historical data from nurse.org to give us the before picture, which is grim.
Very grim.
And we have these papers on self-determination theory and trait activation.
Which sounds dense, I know, but honestly, it's the key to the entire mystery.
Okay, so let's start with the headline numbers. Set the scene for January 2026. What exactly are we looking at?
To really get the magnitude of the shift, you have to look at the Conference Board's Job Satisfaction 2025 report. Now, this isn't some new survey.
Right.
They've been running this since 1987. So we have nearly 40 years of trend lines to look at. And the headline is, satisfaction has hit its highest level in the entire history of the survey.
Since 1987. That's before the internet was really a thing.
Since 1987. And it wasn't a gradual climb where we, inched up a percentage point every year. The report describes a sharp rebound starting in late 2023.
So like a hockey stick.
It's a hockey stick on the graph. We went from a workforce that was just collectively groaning to one that is engaged.
And this isn't just a general average being pulled up by a few happy CEOs, right? Because I was looking at the Lorien report, which is all about tech candidates. And tech was the poster child for burnout just a few years ago.
Absolutely. Tech was the canary in the coal mine. Quiet quitting, the great resignation, grind culture. That all really started or, accelerated there.
The numbers in this Lorien report are staggering. They look back at 2024, and only 18%, 1/8, of tech candidates said they were satisfied with their jobs. Less than 1 in 5.
That is a crisis.
It's like a broken system.
It's abysmal. When 82% of your specialized workforce is unhappy, you don't have an industry, you have to time bomb.
But fast forward to the 2025 data, same report. The median satisfaction score jumped to 49 out of 100. Now, I know 49 doesn't sound like nirvana.
It's not 100.
But statistically, that is a massive swing in 12 months. It's more than double.
It is huge. I mean, in social science, you rarely see swings that big unless something fundamental has changed in the environment. And the behavior backed it up. The report says the number of people planning to switch roles is down by double digits.
And they're calling it the Great Settlement.
The Great Settlement. I actually really like that term.
Me too. Usually settling is bad, right? You don't want to settle. But here it sounds more like settling down, like finding a home.
Exactly. It implies we're not just staying put because we're scared of a recession or, because we can't find another job. We are staying because we've landed on solid ground.
But to appreciate the solid ground, we have to remember the swamp we just crawled out of. We have the 2024 State of Nursing Report in our stack. And reading this, honestly, it's heavy.
It is heavy reading, but it's such necessary context. Nursing was the epicenter of the dissatisfaction crisis. In 2023, 57% of nurses reported feeling burned out.
57%.
And the scary part, that was considered an improvement from the year before, which was over 80%.
Wow. When 57% burnout is considered a win, you know the system is just deeply broken.
Exactly. But look at why they were unhappy back then. The report lists the top grievances clearly. Inadequate pay, poor working conditions, lack of staffing.
Right.
In organizational psychology, we have a specific name for these. We call them hygiene factors.
This is Herzberg's theory, right? I remember reading about this.
Frederick Herzberg, yeah. He argued that there are two totally distinct sets of factors at work. Hygiene factors are things like salary, job security, safety, physical conditions.
And the theory is that these things don't make you happy. They just stop you from being unhappy.
Precisely. Think of it like the floorboards in your house. If the floorboards are rotting or missing and you fall through into the basement, you are miserable. You are actively dissatisfied.
Right. I'm not thinking about anything else except the giant hole in my floor.
Exactly. But, and this is the key, if the floorboards are solid, if they're perfectly fine, you don't walk around your house celebrating the floor. You don't dance around saying, oh my God, I love this floor so much. You just exist. You walk on it. You're neutral.
That's a great analogy. So getting paid a fair wage is just fixing the floor. It stops the misery, but it doesn't create joy.
Exactly. What we saw in 2023 and 24 was a global crisis of hygiene factors. The floor was rotting everywhere. The rebound we're seeing in 2025 and 2026 suggests that employers finally fixed the floor. Wages stabilized, staffing improved.
So that gets you to zero.
It gets you to not miserable, but it doesn't explain the record-breaking happiness we see in the conference board data.
Right. If I'm just neutral, I'm not rating about my job on a survey. So once the floor is fixed, what's the furniture? What's the stuff that actually makes the house livable?
That brings us to the motivators. And this is where the psychology gets really, really interesting. Because to understand why we are happy now, we have to look at self-determination theory.
I was reading the paper on this by Bard, Deci, and Ryan. They frame satisfaction almost like a biological requirement, like we're plants that need sun and water.
It is one of the most robust theories in all of psychology. SDT self-determination theory argues that your mind has these innate nutritional needs, just like your body needs vitamin C or protein.
And if a job doesn't provide them?
You psychologically wither, you disengage, you burn out.
Okay, so what are the three big nutrients we need?
The three pillars are autonomy, competence, and relatedness.
Let's break those down, because autonomy is a buzzword that gets thrown around a lot, especially with remote work. Does it just mean leave me alone to work?
Not exactly. That's a common misconception. Autonomy isn't about isolation. It's the feeling that you are the initiator of your own actions. Even if you have a boss and a tight deadline, do you feel like you have a choice in how you get there?
So it's about agency, the difference between make this report versus we need this data, figure out the best way to show it.
Yes. The first one is a command. The second one respects your autonomy. Then you have competence. This is the need to feel effective. It's facing a challenge and mastering it. It's that dopamine hit you get when you solve a hard problem.
I studying related.
That's the social piece. But it's not just having friends at the water cooler. It's mutual respect. It's feeling like you matter to the people around you and they matter to you.
Okay. And the researchers found these three things predict performance way better than just desire. What do you mean by that?
Well, you can want to be rich. You can have high desire. But if the role deprives you of autonomy or competence, you will burn out no matter how much you want the money.
This actually connects perfectly to that Lorien report in Gen Z. There was a paradox in the data that I couldn't figure out until I read this SDT paper.
The office versus remote debate?
Yeah. So generally the data shows 43% of tech workers prefer remote work. Makes sense, autonomy, right? But the youngest cohort, the Gen Z workers under 25, specifically want in-office work.
It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? We assume young people just want to be digital nomads.
But the report says they want face-to-face collaboration and mentoring.
Think about that through the lens of self-determination theory. If you are 22, fresh out of college, sitting alone in your apartment, are you getting relatedness?
No, you're talking to avatars on a screen.
Are you getting competence?
Probably not, because you can't just turn your chair around and ask a mentor, hey, am I doing this right? You're just struggling in a silo.
Exactly. So for them, autonomy doesn't mean stay home. It means put me in an environment where I can actually grow. They are craving the nutrients, competence and relatedness that the remote setup isn't giving them yet.
So the Great Settlement isn't about everyone agreeing on one way to work. It's about tailoring the environment to get those nutrients.
Right. But here's the problem humans have always had. We are terrible at knowing what will actually make us happy.
We chase the money.
We chase the hygiene factors, ignoring the psychological nutrients, and then we wonder why we're miserable in a giant house.
And this is where the robots come in, because apparently The AI knows us better than we know ourselves.
This is where it gets a little sci-fi, but it's real.
We have this paper, AI-driven career guidance system, and I have to double-check this number every time I look at it. They claim an accuracy rate of 99.06% in predicting the right career role for a candidate.
It's a staggering number. I mean, in recruitment, even 70% would be a revolution.
How is 99% even possible? We've had career aptitude tests for 50 years.
Yeah.
What makes this so different?
The difference is the data integration. Historically, hiring was two-dimensional. It was resume matching.
You know Python? Great, here's a Python job.
Exactly. But this system combines technical skills with deep psychometrics. It feeds the AI, the big five personality traits, openness, conscientiousness, and so on. It adds Myers-Briggs. It even looks at VAK learning styles. Are you visual, auditory, or kinesthetic?
So it's building a holistic profile of the human, not just the worker bee.
Precisely. The example they give is brilliant. Take a data scientist versus an AI machine learning specialist. On a resume, those two people look almost identical.
Right. Both know Python, both know stats.
But the personality required to thrive, totally different. A traditional data scientist role often requires high conscientiousness. You need to love structure, enjoy cleaning messy data, precision, repetition.
Okay, so you need to be orderly.
But an AI specialist, that field is chaos. It changes every single week. Things break. You need high openness. You need to be comfortable with ambiguity and failing fast.
So if you take the person who loves structure and you drop them into the chaotic AI role,
They burn out. They have the skill, they have the competence, but they lack the psychological fit. The environment is constantly fighting their personality. The AI sees that mismatch instantly.
wow. And there's another concept in our notes that ties into this, motivational DNA. This comes from the AI forensics of professional vitality source.
Right, trait activation theory. It's the mechanism behind why this works. Think of your personality traits as latent batteries. They're sleeping inside you until the environment wakes them up.
Okay, explain that. How does a job wake up a trait?
Well, if you are naturally extroverted, that's a latent trait. If you're put in a sales role where you have to talk to 50 people a day, the environment activates that trait. And here's the key point. When a trait is activated that aligns with your nature, it generates energy.
So work actually energizes you.
It feels good, it's flow state. But if you are forced to act against a trait, like a deep introvert forced to do cold calls all day, it drains you. It literally costs you metabolic energy.
It's a battery drain.
Exactly. The AI is basically a drain calculator. It's running a simulation and asking, will this role charge this person's battery or drain it?
That is a huge shift from just asking, can they do the job?
It's a difference between competence, can you do it, and motivation, will you love it?
That distinction feels like the trap so many people fall into. I know plenty of people who are really good at things they absolutely hate.
The competence trap, it's so common. You're good at spreadsheets, so people keep giving you spreadsheets. You get promoted to head of spreadsheets. But if your motivational DNA screams for creativity, you are dying inside.
You are competent, but you're empty.
And so in 2026, the AI acts as a shield against that. It says, hey, I know you can do this, but the psychometrics say you'll be miserable in 2 years. Don't take the job.
We are finally matching the human to the habitat.
And that is why satisfaction is up. We aren't just filling seats, we're aligning souls with roles.
But there is one more layer to this that I think is really profound. It's not just a one-way street. We have this longitudinal study by Wu and Griffin that suggests the job actually changes you.
The reciprocal loop. Yeah, this is so important for the long-term view.
They looked at core self-evaluations, or CSE. Basically how you view your own worth and capability.
Right. We usually think high self-esteem leads to a better job, and it does. But Wu and Griffin found that it goes the other way, too. Finding a job that satisfies you actually improves your core self-evaluation over time.
So if the AI puts me in the right job, I don't just get a paycheck. I actually become a more confident person.
You grow. The context affects the person. When you're in a role that feeds those nutrients, autonomy, competence, relatedness, you feel more capable. You take more risks. You become a better version of yourself.
As opposed to the death spiral of burnout we saw in 2024.
Exactly. Burnout erodes your self-confidence. You start thinking, maybe I'm just not smart enough, when in reality, it was just a bad fit, the wrong soil for the plant.
It's a really hopeful picture. It feels like we are finally using technology to be more human, not just more productive.
That's the irony, isn't it? The narrative was that AI would take our jobs. Instead, it seems AI is helping us find the work we were actually meant to do.
So, to bring it all together for the listener, why is the American worker finally happy here in January 2026? It's not just one thing.
No, it's a three-part recipe. Step 1, stabilization. The great settlement. We fix the hygiene factors, pay, and conditions.
The floorboards aren't rotting anymore.
Step 2 is recognizing the nutrients. We stopped guessing and started respecting the need for autonomy, relatedness, competence.
And step 3 is the technology.
Step 3 is the AI forensics. We have tools that prevent us from making the wrong match in the first place. We are aligning motivational DNA with job demands with, 99% accuracy.
It sounds almost too good to be true. But the data from the conference board is right there. We are happier.
We are. The charts don't lie.
Before we go, I have to ask you about the flip side.
There's always a trade-off.
If these algorithms are 99% accurate, if the AI knows what will make me happy better than I do, what happens to dreaming?
That is the provocative thought, isn't it?
I mean, we tell kids, follow your passion, be a rock star. But what if the data says, actually, your psychometrics say the touring lifestyle will drain your battery in 6 months? You should really be a logistics manager. You'll be thrilled.
It raises a massive philosophical question. Should we trust the algorithm more than our own intuition? Are we entering an era where following your dreams is actually seen as reckless?
Where following your data is the only smart move.
It might be safer, it might be statistically happier, but is it human to eliminate the risk of failure? Isn't figuring out who you are by making mistakes part of the journey?
That is something for you to think about, listener.
Hmm.
Would you let an AI pick your career if it guaranteed you'd be happy? Or would you rather risk misery to chase a dream the computer says is wrong?
It's a tough one.
It is. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
And to you, the learner, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.